Okay. Oh, it's saying that it's unstable. Hold on. Sorry. Just give me 1 second. Let me log in. It looks like I'm stable now. Okay. Okay. So it looks like I'm actually like stable now. Yeah. I wonder why it dropped like that. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I'm good now. It's probably because I was watching that IRI stream too. You know what, let me let's go ahead and do that. I'm coming off a little bit too desperate with that tag. Please sub to me. Like I said, I am a John Fetterman fan. Fetterman Oz debate. Let's go back to that New York Times. Okay. Oh my God, stop. New York Times. Fetterman says he would support Biden, but when asked, he says the president could do more on inflation, offering little critique of his job performance beyond that. I think it's fine because it's something that Bernie said, and he's actually kind of right about this. More and more Americans are pivoting toward a lot of the economic issues and like crime issues in the country too. I think that, I mean, you're one or two abortion stories away from like that, like rejuvenating like the Democratic base, but like abortion's fallen off as like a prime issue for voters to get motivated. Like you would need like consistent like messaging in that regard. But like I think you do have to pivot toward like we're the party that has like that actually is improving the economy under like a democratically controlled Congress and a Democratic president. We're passing bills that are improving the economy. Inflation's still high, but inflation is a global issue and the entire world is dealing with it. But if you're looking at like trends compared to other countries, America's actually doing a whole lot better dealing with inflation than in other countries. So I think you should confront that, but then show that it's the Democratic Party that's actually trying to solve inflation in this country. And then you should push Republicans on, okay, if you take the House, if you take the Senate, and if you take the White House, what are you going to do to combat inflation? I've heard like them complaining about inflation the entire time, the Republican Party. What solutions do they have? Because every time they say that they keep talking about inflation, they never give you any solutions. We're the party of solutions. I would force them to answer that question. What policies are you going to fight for, or what bills are you going to present to whatever chamber you're running for that's going to combat inflation? Put them on the defensive with that. Ask them. Asked if he backed Donald Trump as a presidential nominee, Oz says he will support whoever the Republican Party puts up. He did avoid playing up his Trump backing, another sign of a purple state. True. I mean, you have to play politics. Like that's just how it is. Oz initially does not directly answer when asked if he would support a run from former President Donald J. Trump in 2024, and said he would support him if Trump ran for president. Yeah. Asked to name the greatest foreign threat, Fetterman replies, China. I believe China is not our friend, he says. Oz argues that America is not projecting strength and raises concerns about a potential Iran deal. Oh my God, the Iran deal was a good deal for America. Iran was a good deal. Now Iran's out there now. Oh my God. I don't feel like explaining the Iran deal and how good it was for America that we were a part of that deal. Some Democrats warned during the primary that some of the positions Fetterman has taken over the years will be tough to defend. Party leaders probably preferred Conrad Lamb, which was actually pretty true, a centrist from suburban Pittsburgh. Fetterman's backers argued that he would be better able to mobilize and excite the base of the Democratic Party. If Fetterman loses, the infighting on the left over this race will be vicious. That's true. Even though it's a 1-point lead, I think Fetterman will win out. I think he has done a lot of great messaging for it. I think this debate is going to change a lot of mind. These debates, I think, especially if you come in prepared and you have good answers to questions and you put your opponent on the defensive, which I think Fetterman, right, from everything I'm reading so far, Fetterman's doing a good job, better than expected. I think that if he comes out better than expected, because you can look at the poll post the Abbott and Beto debate for the Texas gubernatorial race. Beto was trailing behind Abbott, but then he's gaining ground now after that debate, and because he's an eloquent speaker, he had good answers, and he knows what Texans want out of their government. He's also softened quite a bit on like gun ownership too, and on the Second Amendment, which good for him. He was smart, like early on too, which was smart by him. That sort of rhetoric does not play well in Texas. But then you had the Uvalde shooting, you had Buffalo. So like more and more Texans like, we want like common sense, quote unquote common sense gun reform. Oz accuses Fetterman, this is 10 minutes ago, Oz accuses Fetterman wanted to criminalize all drugs. Okay, we're caught up there too. If one of the knocks on Oz is that he's a lightweight, he's setting out to prove otherwise tonight. Fetterman also hasn't managed to create a moment that highlights his campaign mantra that Oz is a carpetbagger from New Jersey. Okay, that's from Blake Honshaw. This is clearly a format that favors Oz. The question is whether voters will understand Fetterman's disability, making it hard for him to get his words out. I don't like this framing. He doesn't have he had a stroke. I don't like that framing. He had a stroke. But Oz has done a good job of like highlighting that too. That he may not be fit to serve office. That was man. That was so bad for the Fetterman campaign. I'm really wondering about that too, Cheryl. This is from Lisa Lear. She's responding to Sheryl Solberg's tweet that I just wrote. I'm curious to see how voters respond to his performance. Do they make allowances for his halting speech, giving his medical minister, or do they see him as less fluent than Oz, who has plenty of TV experience? Never ever doubt the power of celebrityhood in American politics. Celebrityhood can get you a lot. It can sway hearts and minds. Watching this debate, I'm struck by what a weird American tradition this is. Senators are known for their long-windedness, but all these questions require punchy 60-second sound bites. It's an odd notion of what the job requires. But at some level, this is a perfect example of why debates matter. It allows voters to test candidates' fluency on various issues, how they think on their feet, deflect attacks, and press their case. Fetterman's not going too hard and drawing contrast with President Biden. Scranton now. So now we're caught up here. Let's see what's going on in actual Twitter land. Dr. Oz, this is from Brian Tyler Cohen. Holy shit, Dr. Oz just said he wants women's bodily autonomy to be between women doctors and local political leaders. Did he misspeak when he said that?
I want women, doctors, local political leaders, letting the democracy that's always allowed our nation to thrive, to put the best ideas forward so states can decide for themselves. I want women, doctors, local political leaders.
That last part you're gonna attack on local political leaders. You sure what if those political leaders don't believe that a woman has a right to an abortion? And people kind of hammering him on this on Twitter right now. That fucking... Oh shit. Aaron Donald parted from Donda Sports. If you don't know what Donda Sports, company owned by Kanye West. Yo, Kanye, why'd you? Yo, my guy, man. I really feel. All right, let me say this. I don't feel bad for Kanye. I'm gonna give the man the agency an adult man deserves. I think he's going through some shit, but like he's losing everything, man. And is he still buying Parlor too? Candace Owens fleeced him. Kanye, man. Let's see, Fetterman.
He keeps talking about Bernie Sanders. You know, 3 years ago, he was on his show and he hugged him and he said, "I love this guy. You know what? Why don't you pretend that you live in Vermont instead of Pennsylvania and run against Bernie Sanders?" Because he keeps talking about Bernie.
That's a good one. Yeah, James Robinson's new number is 23. Let's see here. Sorry guys, this is like a pivot because I think in my honest opinion, this Senate race could define a lot of other Senate races too. I really think this is like the premier Senate race because the Republicans should be able to take this seat. For the longest time now, John Fetterman was holding a strong lead, but they began pumping tons of money into this Pennsylvania Senate race, and Oz is Fetterman's on the lead, but by a point. It's a toss-up. That's a toss-up. So Fetterman needs to come out strong after this debate and really push. But I am worried though because he missed so much time campaigning after his stroke. I didn't even realize Everett Stern was still like running in that Senate race, but he is backing John Fetterman, so good for him. Native Pennsylvanian too, man. I'm like, so
Second, Mr. Oz, I do want to clarify something. You're saying tonight that you support fracking, that you've always supported fracking, but there is that 2018 interview that you said, quote, "I don't support fracking at all." So how do you square the two?
Fracking.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fetterman.
That was tough. I mean, you run long enough as a politician, you're gonna have like some like statements that like you wish you could take back. But his current he took like a long time to answer that too. So I don't know if that was like an auditory issue or not from him. But you know, fracking is for a lot of Pennsylvanians and like and I forget which area of Pennsylvania, fracking is like their lifeblood, man. And I think we do need to pivot toward like green energy, but it has to be like we have to phase certain things out. And I think the stopgap is nuclear until you have a completely renewable. The renewables can like take over 100% of our already like pretty prominent like energy consumption. Nuclear is like the best option, but so many people are against it too. I know a lot of people on the left are like completely against like nuclear, but like it's so much safer than it once was. So I just don't know what would be the like what's the real answer here. Some more moves by the Jets too. Zonovan Knight, he got called up. He got signed to the active roster, and then offensive line Myron Cunningham, that's just signed to the practice squad. Let's see, any other? All right, let's go back to the New York Times. Okay, we got a couple new updates here. Oz, in his closing statement, cast himself as a political outsider and the candidate for change. Oh, you know, that rhetoric work is very similar rhetoric to like when Donald Trump was running for president. Will that work for Dr. Oz? You know, I don't know if you want to, because if John Fetterman over this time has said that you're an outsider, that could be construed as, for a lot of Pennsylvanians, he's not. You're representing Pennsylvania. You're not representing the entire country, which would make sense for you to be a political outsider, right? Because what was the message, the other message that Donald Trump said when he was running for president, when he said he was a political outsider? He wanted to drain the swamp, right? You can combine those two together. I'm a political outsider that's going to drain the swamp. That's filled with all these politicians that's bought and sold by all these different corporations, yada, 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 yada. But if Fetterman this entire time, or for the last couple of months, has been painting Dr. Oz as this outsider who's not from Pennsylvania, who's from New Jersey, who only recently now says he's running for, recently says he's, you know, he lives in Pennsylvania, he loves Pennsylvania, and you're now saying that you're a political outsider, that might send like a confusing message to the electorate too. And that the Pennsylvanians that are there who've been buying into Fetterman's message might say, well, you're saying you're an outsider. We kind of want somebody, we got a homegrown guy here who's been for Pennsylvania, who understands Pennsylvania, who's going to fight for Pennsylvania in DC. So that could be construed that way. But I think Fetterman would have to like attack. That'll be a good clip for like a political ad too. Oh, there you go. Dr. Oz says he's an outsider. Do you want an outsider in DC representing Pennsylvanians, or do you want a native son represent Pennsylvanians in DC to push back against the swamp? That was from Katie Gluck. I apologize, Katie. I'm assuming it's Gluck. All right. Also from Trip Gabriel, and Trip is actually in Harrisburg. Fetterman's closing statement acknowledges his uneven stroke recovery and his everyman politics. My campaign, this is a quote from Fetterman, my campaign is all about fighting for everyone in Pennsylvania that ever got knocked down and had to get back up again. Boom. Lisa Lair, Fetterman is a bit smooth in the execution of his closing statement, his prepared statement. Fetterman has never been known as a great debater, but I think that might work in his favor, because he's the everyman. He understands the everyman. The everyman's not a great debater. The everyman's a guy who gets up in the morning, gets ready for work, eats his breakfast, does whatever he has to do with his family in the morning, and then goes to work, comes back. You know, that's the presence that you get from John Fetterman. That's what he's been. That's how he presents himself. I frankly think that's who he is. And he's the type of guy who will never forget what the everyman goes through every single day in Pennsylvania. So, you know, that's good rhetoric too by Fetterman. So, you know, sometimes that could come in your favor because you're honest when you're up there. When you're not the greatest debater, you tend to be honest with like your statements when you're up there too. So it's some people can get away with that. Bill Clinton was great at that. Like the way he communicated with people, everyone loved him. You know, at the same time too, you do need to be able to speak clearly and plainly to get your point across in these debates. That's why a lot of like personalities, like if you're trained for TV, you know how to talk, you can. A lot of these guys run for office. You know, they have the media training, they know how to make short, quick statements to grab people's attention, and then from there they can say whatever else they have to say. So Oz has that training, and this sort of format kind of benefits Oz. But it depends on Pennsylvanians. So you could see it like either which way. End of the day, we're going to find out on election day, right? Or after election day, which works. But I will say though, if the DCCC though, if Fetterman loses this, that's a big blow for progressives, because it is true that a lot of like centrist Democrats wanted Carolina. They felt he was the safer pick. But to tell you the truth, I think to really get like the voters going, I really think you needed someone like John Fetterman in Pennsylvania. He's the everyman. He understands Pennsylvanians, and he has a history with them too. And he can bring them on board to his campaign. I think that he can win like places like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, but also win the rural counties there too. But sometimes, you know, there's no such thing as the perfect candidate. There really isn't. But can the candidates step up in the areas that they're weakest in, where they can still like draw people in, not only keep their core voters in, but maybe draw some people who may not be sure either which way, you know? So that's why I like these debates too. Your candidate has, that's why I'm not a fan of like what's going on in Arizona with Katie Hobbs. She needs to debate Carrie Lake. I don't know if that's changed or not, but far as I know, she's not. That's a mistake. That's how you hold Republicans' feet to the fire. And you may not be a great debater, get good. Okay? Get good. And Carrie Lake is like, she's not crazy, but she knows the rhetoric that gets it done too. I am concerned what would happen if she gets into office though in Arizona. Holy shit. I'd rather have Katie Hobbs in there. I don't think she's that great of a candidate, but like, I'd rather have Katie Hobbs in there. She cannot be afraid to debate Carrie Lake, and no Democrat in today's political climate should be declining to debate a Republican. Facts. This race does have national implications. This is a good point by Blake Honcho from 5 minutes ago from the New York Times. A reminder that few voters generally watch debates live, which is true. Only political geeks and like political streamers like watch these debates, and like policy pundits. But many more will see remixed and selectively edited clips in the hours and days ahead. Pennsylvanians are also being swamped by millions in paid advertising. Republicans just tossed in $6 million more in ad spending there today. That's true too. That is very true. Oz and his closest thing, local outsider. Yeah, we read that. And then, of course, they shake hands. Fetterman's such a huge dude. And that's it. Let's see what Twitter says. Hold on, let me window capture. Okay, there we go. So you guys can see this too. Lee Zeldin is like giving ground. Zeldin is not part of this tradition. This race has grown unexpectedly close. It's been great. It's been a great job by Zeldin. I think Hochul will win out at the end, but oh. Has there been nothing new here? Those economic issues are still, has been great messaging by like the GOP too about like economic issues, crime, etc. Never doubt the power of economic anxiety on the everyday American who doesn't follow politics like religiously. It has such a profound effect on people when they go to the polls. It really does. And I promise, folks, we will get back to like Destiny 2. Okay, here we go. This was. By the way, this clip right here should be part of a major ad for Democrats too. A woman, her doctor, and local political leaders. That should be clipped by Fetterman's campaign and national Democrats and say, this guy and all his fellow Republicans say, your local political leader should have a say in your health care. If you're a woman. Yeah, let's go through this thread here. No. Is that it, Aaron? Come on. I need to see everything.
Support raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Why or why not? You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, I do, absolutely. I think it's a disgrace at $7.25 an hour. And how
Okay, I don't know what's going on with this audio, but y'all at WPXI need to fix that.
can a man, with 10 gigantic mansions, has unwilling to talk about a willing wage for anybody? Imagine a single mom with 2 children trying to raise with them, realizing making $31,000 a year, $15 an hour. I believe every work has dignity and every paycheck must have dignity in it as well. True, I've always supported a living wage, and we make sure that everyone has economic security.
I have a follow-up for you, Mr. Fetterman. What do you say to small business owners who have told us that if the minimum wage were increased to $15 an hour, it would put them out of business? You have 30 seconds.
No, we all have to make sure that everyone that works is able to, that's the most American bargain, that if you work full-time, you should be able to live in dignity as well, true. And individuals that just simply can't evade.
That's not a great answer for those small business owners. I mean, what happened? I mean, think about it this way too. If you are a small business owner, let's say like a larger business comes in, right? What do? They provide like mediocre benefits and they slightly pay more than you do, and they steal all your workers away. What happens then? You shut down. You know what I mean? How do you keep those people from like coming in? You pay them a little bit more money, you pay them more. There has to be like a balance there. That, for one, that has to be a better answer from Fetterman than that too, because a lot of small business owners, they vote and they have considerable political power in their local communities. I don't know if there's like an easy solution to that too. Republicans will just say, yeah, we're not gonna, but workers, the capital owners, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat, classic battle between the two. What can you do?
Questions. There will be no rebuttals allowed. Mr. Fetterman, we begin with you. You suffered, as you mentioned a moment ago, a stroke 4 days before the May primary. Last week, you released this note from your doctor saying you can work full duty in public office, but you have not released your detailed medical records surrounding your stroke. Mr. Fetterman, will you pledge tonight to release those records in the interest of transparency? You have 60 seconds.
No. To me, for transparency is about showing up. I'm here today to have a debate. I have speeches in front of 3,000 people in Montgomery County, all across Pennsylvania, big crowds. I if my doctor believes that I'm fit to serve, and
fuck it, man. Damn. All right. This is like a real question. If his doctor says outright that he's fit to serve office, right? Like he can do it. This is like in my opinion, this is the wrong answer. I would have said right then and there, you know what? Whatever the moderator's name is, like Chuck, let's say his name is Chuck. You know what, Chuck? You're right. After this debate, I'm going to contact my doctor and I'm going to have him release all the records to every news station in the state of Pennsylvania and then nationally as well. That's what I always said. I'm healthy. I'm fine. I had a stroke, but I'm healthy. I'm up here too. I'm campaigning. I had to take some time off, obviously, but I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but like, I would just say, I'm just going to release all my records. I would just release all the records. That's it. That's all. That's what I would say. I think that's like, he's kind of like, he's over explaining it. I don't think he's nervous or anything like that, but like, I think he knows it's like a sensitive issue. I mean, if like the records say like, oh, he has like high cholesterol and high blood pressure right after a stroke, you know what I would say after that? Yeah, I work my ass off. I don't really sleep a lot. I'm running a political campaign. I'm running for office. You want a guy that's overworked and overtaxed. Why? Because I'm working for you, my fellow Americans, my fellow Pennsylvanians. That's what I do for you. That's it. That's all you gotta say. And people make fun of you. It's like, they're making fun of a guy who had a stroke. What are you talking about? You think every single like person on Capitol Hill in DC is healthy as a horse? Please. It's like he's over explaining that way too much. Just be direct. Yeah, fuck it. I'll release all my medical records. Now, unless there's like something like there you may not want people to know about.
Thank you, Mr. Oz.
That's a different story, but I don't think there is.
Career around medicine, but
one is because I think now the reason why I say like I don't think there's anything that he's hiding is because the doctor, I believe it was the doctor that made an official statement. Right, hold on, they actually have it here. Was it? Yeah, it's from the doctor. So if the doctor lies, he puts his license at stake. You know, no fucking doctor or lawyer with. Plenty of lawyers have done that, i.e. look at Donald Trump's like lawyers. His lawyers have gotten lawyers now. But I don't think like a sane doctor would do that.
By some fellow physicians for promoting, quote, unproven, ill-advised, and at times potentially dangerous treatments. What is your response to that? You have 60 seconds.
One of the great blessings of traveling around Pennsylvania is you run into people who have watched the show.
Okay, a little bit on an audio note here. ABC 27, thank you for having like even audio. WPXI, y'all need to fix your shit. Okay? All right.
They thank me very much for giving them life-saving advice on chronic issues like high blood pressure or dealing with their anxiety. The show did very well because it provided high-quality information that empowered people, which was exactly what I want to do when I'm a senator. Give people the power. Let them make decisions for their well.
I've seen his show, unfortunately, a couple of times. It didn't. It's just like any other like daytime show. It's a bunch of, he's just a fucking, he really is just a quack. Okay, he's your modern day snake oil salesman with that shit too. If you actually want to like know something like medically, speak to an actual doctor about it and get their opinion. If you don't like what your doctor says, go speak to another doctor. Okay, again, if you have access to like healthcare like that, get a second opinion. I understand some people may not have like that access, but if you do have access and you have the ability to, get a second, third, fourth opinion. Okay.
Well-being. Now, John Fetterman's approach to health is a very dangerous one. He believes we should socialize medicine. He embraced this with Bernie Sanders, who he endorsed. The two candidates called themselves the two most progressive people in America. When you have socialized medicine, Dennis, you shut down the ability of people to get access to health care. Doctors stop practicing.
How?
There are no medications available. The lines get...
The minute he says that, if I have I forget the debate format, but if I was able to counter that, how does that happen? How does that shut down access? Explain that to me. How does that shut down access? If you can go to any doctor you want and it's paid for by the government, how does that shut down access? Are doctors going to say, oh yeah, you went to Dr. ABC. Well, I'm Dr. 123. Fuck Dr. ABC. I'm not going to fucking see you now. Out of your fucking mind, dude.
Get long. It's a disaster and it puts people at risk. So I don't
they just give you the long lines bullshit?
Medicine, the abolition of all private health care insurance in America.
Are you kidding me? There's long lines already. You know how when I was living down in Florida and I had to like change doctors, you know how fucking hard it was to get an appointment within like the month? You know how hard it was to get an appointment within a reasonable amount of time? Like, I'm talking about, yeah, his next available appointment's like 3-4 months. Are you kidding me? I need to see somebody. Like, it's ridiculous, dude.
And radical positions like the ones taken by John Fetterman make him too extreme to...
Oh, is this the fracking thing?
I don't support fracking at all. So how do you square the two?
I do support fracking, and I support fracking, and I stand and I do.
He should have expected that. I think that was an auditory issue on his part, because there was like that long awkward pause. I think he's been pretty clear on like fracking. Like, you can't just get rid of fracking like that, which is for a lot of rural Pennsylvanians in those areas where they do frack. It's like a #1 issue for them. It's how they fucking put food on the table for their families. I just don't think that you can just like get rid of it like that. But that's just me. I mean, the obvious answer is, I talked about earlier in the stream, is you need to shift over to like nuclear. Nuclear is your stopgap until renewables and green, quote unquote, green energy becomes like viable. Then you can start switching over into that. But so many people on my side of the aisle are against nuclear, man. God, they don't want it because of like, I understand the concerns, but it's just, you want to be able to do what I'm doing right now, stream, look on Twitter, and have Destiny 2 running in the background, and have like these lights up here too. And there's other people in my house too who are not doing what I'm doing, but they're like watching TV and on the computer too. If you want to be able to do that, then you need to have an alternative to like fossil fuel consumption at the moment. Okay.
Congress passed the first gun control bill in decades. That would not have happened without the support of the man you are running to replace, Pat Toomey. How would you have voted on that bill? And would you continue Toomey's legacy as being one of the lead Republicans in Congress on pushing for gun reforms? You have 60 seconds.
I have been supported by Pat Toomey. I've enjoyed working with him. I think he's done a wonderful job. There are parts of that bill that I like a lot. For example, I like the fact that there are background checks that are being strengthened now, so we can make sure that people who should not have guns don't get guns. I also like the fact that there was a lot of money invested for mental health, which is an important part of the equation. I've been to Philadelphia. I've done prayer vigils with black clergy leaders who are desperately trying to save the people in their community. Half the murders in Philadelphia committed by people under 18. We have got to get mental health services to these people, and it's not happening now. But part of the problem is that we have taken away the ability of police to do their job, and that's on John Fetterman. Because John Fetterman has taken such a harsh position against them. He's undermined them at every level, taken away some of their funding. He's pushed for Krasner, who he admires tremendously, and he's spoken highly of him just this week. He's taken his policies to a new extreme. He's argued that people should be let out of jail without any bail, no matter what they did to get in there. He's argued to release 1/3 of all prisoners. 1/3 of all prisoners out of touch.
Quickly, 15 seconds. Would you have voted for that Pat Toomey supported bill? If you
I would have tried to improve that bill. There are things that I think most of us appreciate. I wasn't there at the
Which
time,
is a
so
no.
I can't speak to what was possible.
That's
but
a no.
I do know there are parts
That's
of
a
that
no.
bill that do make sense, and the ones I described should be followed. Let's see how.
That's a no. Okay.
He has endorsed you. Why won't you fully commit to supporting him in 2024?
Oh, I do. I would support Donald Trump if he decided to run for president.
All right.
But this is bigger than one candidate. This is a much bigger story about how we are going to build a bigger tent to let more Americans feel safe.
Are you concerned about the ongoing legal investigations involving the former president? 30 seconds, sir.
I haven't followed them very carefully. I've been campaigning pretty aggressively. They'll work themselves out. I have tremendous confidence in the American legal system, and I believe law and order will reign supreme. But speaking about that topic,
Trump has supported you.
Fucking bullshit. Dude, you can't like. Okay. Bro, everybody's following that shit, dude. Everybody's following it. Even if it's just like a minute bit, everybody's following it.
put the best ideas forward so states can decide for themselves. I want women, doctors, local political leaders, letting the democracy that's always allowed our nation to thrive.
All right, being very charitable, I'm wondering if like that was like a flub on his part, that last part when it says local political leaders. But like, if that was a flub on his part, that's a big flub because that's an easy ad for the DCCC. Or the DNC rather, so I keep saying DCCC, but it's DNC. Yeah, we saw this like zinger clip too, like multiple times. Is there anything else? Jesus Christ. You fucking... I follow Hassan. and then I follow AMRAP, and then like I get all this. This is like my fucking like Twitter like timeline too. I'm not really complaining, but like sometimes you get a photo, you get like a tweet, and it's a little bit crazy. I'm wondering if I'm streaming, am I gonna get in trouble? It's technically food, to be honest with you. It's technically food. Okay, it's technically food. I'm ashamed to say I've had actual, whatchamacallit, I've had actual, McRibs before. I haven't had one, I mean, I was like I'd safe to say I had it like a decade ago. But like, listen, you are not big enough. I'm talking to everybody in chat, talking to anybody who's gonna see this later on when I upload it on YouTube. You're not bigger than McDonald's, okay? All right. When it's late night and you're hungry, and you just need to put something in your belly, and you see that giant golden M out there in the distance, and there's nothing else for miles. Guess what? You're going to Mickey D's. All right. I've done that plenty of times too. When I actually lived in like two really nice areas in Jacksonville. Well, the first area I lived in was like okay. The other area was really good. God damn it. Why is my camera? Okay, that's better. You know what it really is? It's because of the light. It's light. It's dark out now. Usually I'm like streaming in the mid-afternoon or morning. And I have my windows right here to my right, your left on the screen, and like there's light shining here too. So just for a point of fact too, DSLR camera. If you don't know, DSLR cameras can adjust for low light situations, so it can brighten up your face. But in reality, it should be, I believe so. I'm probably wrong about that. I'm only now like learning this stuff too. But they're a lot better in low light situations than are like webcams. Webcams, you need to have like a well lit area to use properly. Hassan was using like a Brio, I think, for like years before he switched over to the DSLR. So right now, I can have my overhead light on right now, but it's all right. Usually when I'm playing like a spooky game, I can do stuff like this. We saw this too. The debate's over. So this is what I'm talking about. This actually isn't that. What the fuck is this? Hassan selfie day? What is this? Stop. Well, that's good. He's a good player, man. He's great defensively. When he's hitting well, he hits really well. I'm a Mets fan, if people don't already know. So, my fucking timeline, dude. Come on. With the Hassan shit. I like what... It's like in a day, you like one or two things that he says, and all of a sudden, it's everybody else. Maureen Sullivan, 11 following, and it's just a random, it's a bot account probably. What's PJ Media? Okay, conservative commentary and analysis from all-star team of columnists and writers, followed by Media Meh. I'm not a big fan of that too. They need to address. Democrats do need to address this because it's what's talking about from Republicans again? It's like the third trimester abortions, or like they abort like a fully developed child, like post birth, it was a post birth abortion. That shit doesn't happen. What the fuck are people talking about? You don't think that would be reported on by every news network in the country? Like, they need to like confront that, but like I don't know why like Democrats like don't confront that when that talking point. It's such an easy talking point to dismiss. Prove to me that happens. Prove to me like this shit like actually happens. Like, they need to address that and like just immediately slap it down so they can move on to like real things that are happening in the world. All right, for anybody who's actually watching because they want to actually watch me like kill or do some good shit in like Destiny 2, then David Pacman. Let's see. Let's see what Pacman was streaming the debate too. Fetterman, from what I've seen so far, he had like a couple like good moments too. But I think everyone knew going into this debate, if it was like a one-on-one debate, Oz would look better. But the race is so close though. It's a 1-point race, 1 or 2 point race. This is like a weird thing too that I've noticed on Twitter too, from Idabert, replying to D Pacman, "You're deleting people's tweets that you don't agree with and keeping their money. Fucking moron. This guy thinks I can delete other people's tweets." Yeah, you can't do that. I don't know why people think that. This is like a weird thing. See, people think this too. This is not the first time someone's said this to me. This sounds like this is a bot account too. You know what? I wish when you hovered over somebody's like profile like this, it would say like somewhere here, date the account was created. That would be really, really cool. "47 minutes ago.
20 criminal cases related to the 2020 election.
Out of 4 million votes.
Yeah, no, I'm talking in facts, John. But the reality is there are millions of people, not only in Arizona, but people throughout this country that think the election is stolen.
There's people that believe in angels, but that doesn't mean you launch an investigation that angels changed ballots. Like a bit of a tautology. When you have a former president spreading rumors to his supporters, for instance, Trump can say 74,000 mail-in ballots received that were never mailed, magically appearing ballots. 106.
I don't know if you guys like realize like what's going on like Arizona right now. There's like ballot watchers at these ballot boxes too. They're wearing masks and they're like they're open carrying too. Open carry is legal in Arizona. Pardon me. This is happening in Arizona, but like it's fucking crazy. Like people like reporting on them too. I think that you can watch. Tell me if I'm wrong or not too. I think you can have like people like watching the ballot drop boxes, but you have to be like a certain feet away. But like I feel like I believe that is still voter intimidation. Like motherfuckers are there with masks on. Some of them are wearing tactical gear, like, and they're open carrying too. Like that's like fucking scary, dude. Like you're just there like drop off a ballot and you see these motherfuckers there. Some people might just like turn away. And also like in Georgia too. And this was the Georgia law people were complaining about like a year or so ago that got passed. It's I think the big thing was, and this is what in this game, like any press whatsoever, it's the unrestricted challenges to the voter roll. And no one was talking about outside like maybe like a few niche publications. It was like, oh, you can't give water to people and all that bullshit, which was just like whatchamacallit, just a bunch of bullshit. Like the unrestricted challenges are insane. Like there are people who went there who voted early, but then they found out that that they were challenged, so they couldn't like vote, but they could do a I forgot what's a specific type of ballot that like after the challenge is reviewed, if you signed that if you got that ballot done, then you could they would count that vote. But I forgot, but I don't know how many people know about that. I forgot what it's called. If anybody in chat knows what that is, like say it in chat. I forgot what it's called. I read the story like a day or two ago, but if you find out that is, there's like a list of places that you can call. Actually, no, I do want to. God damn it. It's not vote.org. I know vote.org is like one of the. Oh, here it is. Here it is here too. Yeah, it's literally the front page. Okay, there's like a number. There's a national number you can call too. That's the election protection hotline too. But there was also like each state has like a voter protection hotline too that you can call as well. I'm like pretty confident too. Vote.org too is a great like resource on like voting rights too. There's a number for each that you can call too. You can call in and tell people of any like shenanigans that are going on. Like there's like people dressed up as like militia a couple feet away from a ballot drop box, and they're fucking open carrying too. So yeah, there's that.
68,000 fraudulent ballots printed on illegal paper. 36,000 ballots illegally cast by non-citizens. Now, the truth is, none of that was real.
When it first came out, the Cyber Ninja said Joe Biden won Arizona, and then they got a lot of pushback.
That Cyber Ninja shit was such bullshit. That was such a scam. Millions of dollars went to that company for absolute bullshit. That's taxpayer dollars. That's your fucking money, Arizonans. That's your money wasted on nothing. On a nothing burger, quoting Ted Cruz. On a nothing burger. Such a waste of time. They didn't even handle the ballots properly too, because there's a certain way you have to handle the ballots to maintain the security of those ballots, and they didn't do that. Jeez, this is not going to go away anytime soon too. Every election now is going to get questioned by like Republican candidates, especially when they don't lose. I think Carrie Lake said didn't want to admit to during an interview that if she loses, like, is she going to peacefully concede the election? It's fucking crazy, dude. Like, I got no problem with people legally challenging this in the court of law, but after that though, I don't know. This is just, we're going down a dark road here in this country, man. Holy shit.
And then they started hedging and hawing, and then next thing you know, people were like, well, Brnovich needs to do something about it. And then it was like a hot mess.
But you've responded by doing things about it.
What I've done
said you're still investigating.
We've run a lot of the stuff to ground.
And when you get it to ground, will you come out and say, Donald J. Trump is wrong? The election in Arizona was fair, not stolen.
Why would you do this interview? Know who Jon Stewart is?
I've always been a straight shooter, and once all the facts and evidence are John, come on, man. I'm telling you,
You have found no evidence that the election in Arizona was fraudulent or stolen from Donald Trump.
Donald Trump lost Arizona, period. I've said that from the very beginning. There have been isolated incidences thus far that we've identified,
yes,
and we are prosecuting.
Yes.
We still have some active investigations going on, but people can draw their own conclusions.
There is no, people cannot draw their own conclusions. That's the point of the law.
Yeah, it is.
The law is that you have facts.
Right.
And
by the way, this is the Attorney General, right? Hold on.
Right now, we have about, I think, almost 20 criminal cases related to the 2020 election.
Out of 4 million votes.
Yeah, no, I'm talking in facts, John. But the reality is there are millions of people, not only in Arizona.
Okay. This is the guy here too, right? Okay. The guy Jon Stewart's talking about. Mark Brnovich. He is the Attorney General for the state of Arizona. He is the top attorney in that entire state. Listen to what he's saying. This is like fucking madness, man. This is madness. Like, these guys, there's political games you can play, but this is not a game you want to play with people. This is like the beginning of the downfall of country right here. And the thing is, guys like him, they're not morons. But this has been allowed to fester in this country for the last couple of years, or since like the last presidential election 2 years ago, at least. But my God.
And not stolen from Donald Trump, according to even your investigation.
I have never said.
Why is it so hard to just say yes to that?
I guess because I've spent most of my career as a prosecutor, and we still have some ongoing cases.
So in your mind, you still feel like after all this, you're going to discover a concerted effort to steal the election from Donald Trump and that it was fraudulent. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So why can't you say the election in 2020 was not stolen or fraudulent?
I will tell you this, as I said.
This is blowing my mind.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's blowing my mind too. I'm sorry, man. Jesus Christ. Stuff like this really concerns me. Not just in the now for the midterms, and not just for the 2024 presidential election, but like for every election moving forward in this country. Like this shit like terrifies me. Like not just like another January 26th, but I'm talking about multiple January 26th, January 6th in this country. I'm concerned about like smaller ones happening around like midterms, around like state and local elections. You know, like the fucking someone running for like the mayor of, I don't know, Los Angeles decide, hey, this election was stolen. All right, I guess we're rioting now. Scares the shit out of me, dude. Okay, let's see. Philadelphia, the Inquirer. Really, no updates? There's usually like something here that says like latest, things like that too. Okay, we're probably gonna have to get back to Destiny. We're definitely have to get back to. For those of you who don't know, this is the mountain right here.
My things versus my 5 to wife's things.
I'll give him a follow. He's a cool dude. He actually does. I think he does stream on Twitch every once in a while. A win for Oz means a nationwide abortion ban, the end of Medicare, Medicaid. They will make cuts, by the way. They will make cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security if Republicans take control, especially of the Senate. That would be. I think, didn't McCarthy say he's willing to let the government default on all this? Oh my god, that's fucking insane, dude. The fact that's like even like it in like the thought process around like Republicans, yeah, we're willing to like, you know, crater the economy for our own political goals. I found Mick Foley. All right, let's go. We'll give him a like on that. Are they wearing their black with their green? Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Okay. We're going back to Destiny 2, folks. We're going back to that sweet, sweet Destiny 2 content. I appreciate you letting me go on my little political rant there. I'll keep it in for the YouTube VOD. Okay. There was a couple of people. Who was a lot of people were actually watching the debate on Twitch. There was Rhizome, there was IRI, Hassan was definitely watching it, Pac-Man was watching it. I don't know if Pac-Man was like dual streaming. I'm pretty sure Dylan Burns was watching it. I think Vosh was the only one who wasn't watching it, only because he built a new PC and it's been acting up. It happens. And I think he was playing Subnautica. So he'll probably watch it on stream tomorrow. Destiny, I don't think Destiny was streaming it. He'll probably watch it tomorrow. I might just catch both of their streams of them watching it and see whatever commentary they have on it. Yes. I actually like that. I'm not a big like purple guy or pink guy, but I like it on my ship. Listen, if I could travel through the universe, let me tell you something. White on pink, hell yeah, man. Only a real man can pull off pink, let me tell you what. Tell that to the hitman. Hey. All right, we're getting back to some Destiny 2, some FPS action. I'm probably not going to play New World. To tell you the truth, I really wasn't feeling New World. There was something about it. I really wasn't feeling it. I don't think I'm back into that MMO grind feel. So I might just like stick to my FPSs and some like smaller games too. I really enjoyed The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. That game was so damn good. That game was so damn good. I had a lot of fun. Playing that game. I might just get back to I might just get back to whatchamacallit. Lost Ark, yeah. I had such like a fucking. I had such a brain fart for that too, yeah. But I might just get back into Lost Ark. I might have to just like relearn everything too. I do want to roll a new character in Lost Ark. I know that like there's a new character class that got like released, the Machinist or something like that too. So I might just try that out. Camera getting blurry again. Oh. Is it good? Is it good? Is it good? I just enjoy like Destiny 2 like so much. Like the content
are fraught with peril, but the ideal horse wishes to place you in jeopardy.
I just need to go like slowly back to
dares of eternity.
It might just be like the light too. There you go. I know it's because like I'm leaning like back and forth. It's like it's trying to like focus. I'm definitely gonna have to like turn my fan on. Alright, let me get out my little dead man's tail. This took me a while to like, well, actually it didn't take me that long to farm, but like I wish I need to farm like Ascended Shards.
Spin the wheel to meet the other team joining us tonight.
Thank you. I need to get some more of these banners here. Ooh, yeah.
Competing for cash and prizes. Here come the Vex.
Of course. Get out of here.
The horse desires further proof of your abilities.
All right, let's go. Get that. Yeah, don't waste all, or go ahead and waste all of it on that one guy. Let's go. And then one more. Anybody else? Boom.
Obstacle course. Have you all signed your liability waivers?
Wait a minute, there's liability waivers? What are you talking about? Let's wait. Oh, it's too soon. No. Oh, I could have recovered that. I could have recovered. It's just like that initial jump, and then that's it. Okay, I'm not gonna do the thing where I'm dropping this.
They are not here to make friends, for they are the Hive.
Is that like a... No, I don't think that's a gunsmith perk. Anybody else? Ooh, we got a cranial spike. I think I need to get a precision headshot, right?
The horse is pleased and summons more opponents.
Okay. Wow. Nobody's all right, somebody got that. Where is the next one? Oh, we got a boss coming in. Oh, nope. I want that witch. Thank you. Ooh.
One door holds your final opponent. The horse insists.
We'll do this. I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to get the bonus round too. It's the only thing. Lucky me.
You resonate with the one perfect reality. The horse rewards
Even though I just completely screwed that up. That's fine. I got everything I need right here. Mask. Chop this up. What else? Yeah, we'll probably get that.
The Hive draw their blades. Let the final round commence.
All right. Let's go. Oh my god, he's like right on my ass. Look at that, guys.
Now, conclude the fight.
Oh, give me a bonus round. Give me a bonus round. Oh, fuck me. Come on.
You are tonight's champion. Please take your winning and thank you for playing.
Is that a shotty? Yep.
And this is Zer, reminding you to have your
I'm just gonna park that in.
or neutered. Good night.
Yep. I should really work on making sure that's I don't know if I want to make this combine my last stream before, like when I went down to and combine it to this stream. Oh, I'm having some crazy spikes right now in my bit rate.
I need to research governance customs. I want to know who's in charge of this.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna definitely have to turn on my fans. You're gonna hear some noise. I apologize for that, but it's warm. Oh, this is a kinetic shotgun. Okay. This is still Where is my kinetic shotgun? This thing's insanely good. I'll keep this. These two I absolutely love. 720s. I to be honest with you, I find no reason not to use like 720 auto rifles. Like, I don't really use this fusion rifle unless I have to use a this thing is just useful because it can switch between void, flame, and arc. I actually got the perfect roll I want, but then I got enough red borders to be able to craft one too. Toil and trouble. Yeah. I got some pretty. This actually is like really nice for a 450. The sight sucks though. Aim down sight sucks. I keep the bad juju around just because String of Curses, because it builds up super energy, and it's just so incredibly useful that way. This I'm gonna check out because I heard like sidearms got so good. They're kind of like the PvP meta now, and this is from a player that doesn't really do PvP. That's the thing. I do want to get back into Overwatch though. What's the current Nightfall? To tell you the truth, I'm not that. The only reason I would want to complete the current seasonal event is because of the final reward, which is an Ascendant Shard and an Alloy too. Ascendant Alloy, I think it is. Yeah. Really, I just kind of want the Shard because I want to upgrade Heart of Innermost Light. That exotic chest piece I have is just so good. If I can farm that and just get 3 Ascendant Shards, I'll be so happy. That would help out with this build, or really for all my light subclass builds, because it is so good. I'm wondering now to get, so I can get it from the Cryptarch. Okay, I would need 100 of those, and that's out of rotation at the moment. But I would need that's in the Enchanted City, right? Yeah.
Nice shooting out there.
Yeah, I need to get shotties, snipers, grenade launcher, arc weapon.
Hit 'em hard. Missed that run in the Crucible? Shame.
There's what we can do here. I got Darcy, arc, shotties, snipers. What was the other one? Actually, I do actually have a grenade launcher. Hold on. Yeah, I do.
Fight hard, Guardian. Doesn't help you or your opponent so easy.
Something.
And I do have an arc weapon. Okay. Alright, you know where I'm going. Best place to go to in my opinion, to do these gunsmith bounties. You can just go to either one. They're usually not really occupied, or there's like 1 or 2 people there, and then you can just clear them out too. It is not consistent tonight. my bit rate. It's only because like I'm streaming like so late at night. There's a ton of people like that's like online, but it's okay. Like it fluctuates a little bit, but it's still stable. Still has a good connection. Anybody doing the nightmare containment?
A tide of dread cresting. It threatens to drown us all.
God, I just care about shooting some things right now. I'm gonna help out just a little bit because we need to keep this going. Okay. Next stage. Oh my God. Give me that ammo. Huh, that was quick. All right, some more mofos coming. Nice. Let's go. Ooh. Arc wine and then arc weapon. Okay. Alright. But I think I could finish with the shotty blade pretty easily. All right, let's refill everything. Only bad thing about this shotgun, it can only hold so much ammo.
They rise screaming, and they will
Right,
fall.
so they're gonna come here and here, right? Yeah. Wait, what the fuck happened there? Okay. Nobody stop me. Yo, I'm like going through people right now. Come on, recharge, 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 recharge. Fuck off, bitches. Oh my god. Okay, let's go. Oh yeah, I forgot. I thought it was like over here. Chain lightning, baby. Okay. Shotty's done. Grenade launcher, arc weapon. Where's the next one? Oh, it's up there. Hey, what's up, fellas? Dude, look at all this arc. I love it.
You know, sometimes if I curl my finger just so, I can feel the pressure of the trigger, smell the gunpowder, hear Cade's screams. I could have done it nice and quick, but, well, you know, don't you? The way he lay there, reached out for his ghost and begged. Like those little shards were going to help him.
Begone, you facile caricature. Your lies have no power here.
God damn, man, that's some ice cold shit right there. Ooh, wow. That's actually... Oh. Wow. These actually aren't bad. Vorpal and Stats for All combined together like that. Okay. Good. We got a sniper rifle. We got a ton of enhancement cores. We're about to level up again. Oh my god, they're doing it again, huh? Alright. I don't think I have an opulent key. Good. Okay, let's check the usual spots here. Usually other spots, one more spot here. Oh, that actually made me jump a little bit. The light shall heal you. Nope, other side. None of these blue weapons are good at all. They're decent at the beginning of the game, but just go to like any like light.gg or whatever other site is out there and check out like the best weapons like in the game and just farm those. You would think a game like Borderlands 2 would like be something I like. I just never got into it. I still don't have any heavy ammo. I think I might as well just like do this. Oh my god, I'm getting... Really? Minute 29 remaining. Ten seconds, folks.
You have drawn out a powerful nightmare. See that it is destroyed.
Ooh. Not concerned about getting that Gambit one. Okay, so these guys are in. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot I have an opulent key too. Red border, red border? Nope. Oh my god. Okay, 58%. A little bit of pain here in my fingers. I just need some heavy ammo, man. I'm almost done here. I can get back to farming for that gnawing hunger. Okay, it's got 6 shots. I can already tell like those 2 perks on there great on that. Improve? When the fuck did I get this? Okay, I'll take it. That's not bad. Not a big fan of the perk though. Yeah. I think any like solar weapon needs to have like at least a slot for incandescent. No. I wonder if there's, I forget. I don't know if there's anything that you can do to like farm, like consistently farm heavy ammo. That's the only thing. Where?
Do you feel that? They're coming.
Thank you. That's all I needed. Sorry to summon a whole bunch of nightmares and dip, but I got farming to do. I can drop that off too. All right, let me drop off some of these weapons here. Then we'll go back into doing some dares. All right, let's go. Drop this off. This is strange. This is a arc weapon, but it says sticky flame grenades at once. That doesn't make any sense. Prospector. I'll go ahead and drop it. I mean, I have to type on. I don't know why I have this. I'll keep that. Just hell of it. Drop that off. This thing is still so good, but ideally what I really want to do is... Where's that? Red border retrace rifle. Where is it? Did I break it apart? I hope not. There you go. Yeah. I can get incandescent on this too. Be so good. Why don't we grind out this exotic cipher at the same time?
Checking.
We'll break this up.
Thank you.
Check on the gunsmith.
Guardian.
Almost there.
We'll be watching.
I don't think trials are up. Are trials up? Okay. Oh, nope. Let me go here. Sorry, not to go there. Alright, phone is fully charged. Forgot to post a TikTok of me going live. Hey, people are viewing it. Look at my fancy plane. I got a nice fancy plane. I gotta trim this a little bit too. I gotta comb it and brush it too. That's the only thing. Combing is great because you have a couple of hairs that kind of intertwine. They can get twisted. So, and then you brush it afterwards just to make sure to keep the hair nice and soft. If you're gonna have a beard, take care of your beard. Don't be a slob.
I am an agent of the Nine.
Yeah, harden our dust. Yeah, retrace rifle. Get some more upgrade modules. Yeah, we can kind of farm these out. We're farming that gnawing hunger. We should be able to farm these out.
It was never mine.
Okay, got arc. So how many keys do I have? I got 4 keys. Okay. And then another.
My emotions are not wholly under my control, but it is different for you.
Yeah, I think. Okay. Yeah, I kind of do want to like upgrade this. Let's see. Okay.
I come bearing help.
No. There we go. Yes. But I doubt the roll without the one I want. Oh, very cool. Classic astronaut helm. Yeah, I'm looking for like 63, 62, something like that, or and higher. Last perdition. Pattern can't be extracted. Demolitionist field prep. No. This perk absolutely sucks. What I'll do is go to helm. Just go ahead and just drop those off. I'll probably do like 3 or 4 days of eternities and then I'll just probably end stream. It's been like 2 hours already. I have to download the previous stream and then I gotta download this stream from Twitch and then I can upload them both on YouTube. I might spend the morning just doing that. Red border. What is this? A 390 pulse rifle. Okay. Not that great. Yeah. We'll do is all right, a couple of unclaimed challenges. I'll make sure to get some special ammo for this. I think I actually did already get the God roll for that. Let's try this again. I have to do this too. I need to get I gotta do, maybe next time, once I get like the roll I want for gnawing hunger, I think I'll probably like do like an LFG in the Discord for Destiny 2. To do some of these like dungeons. I do have some tickets though to do the ones where you can join up with a group. Yeah. Guardians. I wish I had just had a group finder, you know, and then you can like specify like what you're looking for, like in the group finder, and then you can like check, you know, like you need to have like a certain like gear level, things like that, you know, you need to have like mics on, things, you know, things of that nature. That would make things like way easier.
Welcome to tonight's Dares,
Dares of Eternity.
It is always night in this mysterious realm.
The Wardcliffe coil.
Commands it.
Tractor cannon. Okay. I haven't heard of those two exotics before. Switch to arc. Oh, man, that's like filling up the frame there.
Spin the wheel to meet the other teams joining us tonight.
Use some arc.
From a churning pool of radiolaria come the Vex. The horse desires further proof of your abilities. The fantastic horse now demands you prove your dexterity on the zany Dares of Eternity obstacle course.
Oh my god. Oh. My waist, I just love this gun.
Please save Velasque to the fallen.
Take it.
The horse demands more from you. I must oblige.
No. Oh, shh.
Fallen from across the Paraverse wish to compete against you. Your final opponent awaits behind one of these doors. Which shall you choose? A brilliant choice from tonight's most gifted contestant. Enjoy the horse's fate.
Let's go. Time to shotgun some fools.
For your final challenge tonight, echoes of the past draw swords against you. Good luck.
That aspect was right on my ass too.
Tonight's champion. Please take your winnings and thank you for playing Dares of Eternity.
Only 3 wasn't that great.
This is Zer, reminding you to have your ghost spayed or neutered. Good night.
One more for shotgun. Damn, man. I can complete like all of them in one run. It's alright. Just like a couple more kills with that shotgun. Be good to go. Ray Tech Absolute Zero Mark. See how this looks. Actually doesn't look that bad. Don't like the color scheme that much though. Yeah, I'm actually not a big fan of that. Let's just do that instead. Oh, while that goes underway. This doesn't look anything like this. While it loads. All right.
The entropic equine believes you will participate in any challenge if the price is right on tonight's
Dares of Eternity. Prometheus lens, touch of malice. Wish it gave you a little bit more time to go through everybody's stuff. Shoddy for the win.
Assembled unwillingly from our studio audience, please welcome the Taken. The fantastic horse now demands you prove your dexterity on the zany Dares of Eternity obstacle course.
Right now. There we go. Oh, just... That's the last one for me. Fallen.
Put all four of your hands together for the fallen. The horse desires further proof of your abilities.
Oh, wow. Jeez, I forgot about those guys. Ooh.
Calls powerful fallen from houses unknown.
I'm not gonna lie. Where is it? I'd rather have this.
Your final opponent awaits behind one of these doors. Which shall you choose? A brilliant choice from tonight's most gifted contestant.
Oh my
Enjoy
God.
the horse's favor.
That is annoying. I rarely if ever make that jump. Tonight on Dares of Eternity.
Star Horse had your final challenge waiting backstage. Let's bring out the Cabal.
Holy shit, dude. All on my own, baby. I was hoping for another, like a bonus round too.
Your winnings, astounding wealth, richly deserved.
First in, last out. All right.
Yes, it is the will of the hyper-quantum horse that no one returns empty-handed from the dares of eternity. Good night. Let's get that God roll non-hunger. I'm gonna go
Damn, the range is 100 on this thing? God damn. Did I get the mastery unlock on this thing yet? No. Into a fragmentation. Oh my god, that's fucking awesome. Inventory. 2 keys. No, 2 treasure keys. 6 strange coins. That's on a 4-hour cooldown. Two, one. I can have both, right? Yeah.
Welcome to tonight's Dares of Eternity, where reality
I got my
is made
huckleberry.
up and your repeated deaths do
Witherpool.
not matter.
We should look at the skins for this. Damn, you know, I never care about this stuff, but like, I always look at it, man. Like, I'm fine with the way it looks. Like, it just it does draw you in, though. To be honest with you, it does draw you in.
Spin the wheel to learn which opponents are about to take the stage.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's take it, not falling. I still don't know which symbols are associated with which enemies.
Their wills are not their own. You face the Taken.
It's just like that last motion at the end.
The horse is pleased and summons more opponents.
Ooh. Smoking it
More
up.
excitement and prizes await you beyond the demented
Ah, shit, I screwed
Dares
up.
of Eternity obstacle course. existence.
Vex.
Pulled from deep within the vault of glass, please welcome the Vex.
Ooh.
The horse demands more from you. I must oblige.
Ooh.
A powerful Vex guards your next challenge.
I love it. Just arc energy everywhere.
Your final opponent awaits behind one of these doors.
Put some
Which
confidence in
shall
there.
you choose?
Nope. Okay.
My apologies, contestant. Perhaps you will have better luck.
That's fine. We glide to victory.
Their drop pods have fallen from across the Paraverse to be here tonight. Survive the final round.
Ooh. Oh, thank you. No bonus round.
Claim your winnings. Astounding wealth, richly deserved. Yes, it is the will of the hyper-quantum horse that no one returns empty-handed from the dares of eternity.
Damn. Did it again, did it again. Oh, we're gonna even out? Okay, beautiful. Okay. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
These are from the Nine.
All right. Really? Wow, I did not realize I didn't have like that much. Drop this off. I got that one gnawing hunger, and that's it so far. I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually a little tired. I feel like I should just end it now and like I can grind out like crazy tomorrow. Empty water. Yeah, that doesn't look anything like the colors in that picture. All right. This is gonna take a minute. Indigo Matrix. Rusted coin, which I don't understand. Laguna Cruiser. Come on, struggle bus. I actually do like that.
I don't have training for that.
Luna Cruiser.
Assignment in progress.
Oh wow. We'll do that. Okay, we'll go ahead and just grab all this stuff.
Yes. Sign, please. Acknowledged. Anything for you? You're famous, Guardian.
The oldest encryption method on.
Oh. I'm not gonna lie, I actually do prefer this over this.
This is not the Crucible, but not every place can be perfect.
What is Feeding Frenzy? It's just, you reload so quickly. Oh, wow. Okay, handling, reload speed. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Targets don't know their targets, so you get back.
Whole bunch of kinetics. And now we're getting into the elementals. Dark hunger. Right. Yeah, that recoil direction's horrible. Listen, I gotta farm that out though. That's the only thing before the rotation ends.
Done. All done, all done. Let's check.
I'm gonna keep it in there for now. So I like having like one of like every type of weapon, or at least like the best roll for that weapon. Do I have the masterwork for this? Yes. That thing is amazing. Honestly, I'd rather switch. The only reason why I have this is because of incandescent. You upgraded the masterwork for incandescent at least.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow.
Next time.
Lives given, and the Cryptarchs for me.
Zavala looking over the city.
You're back.
New day. Fans, bow, grenade launcher, fusion rifle. Most of the weapons I don't even use. Oh my god.
Back to the front, Guardian.
Plenty of targets. Red Legion and more.
Did you show the darkness what light can do?
Yes. Rank 16, of course, that's the case. I do not believe trials are up.
Come
Let
here and
me.
let me look at you.
Security check. All secure.
The city has grown so much. It is difficult to walk in a single day.
Yeah, trials aren't up yet.
I think that's it.
That's it.
This is taking forever. All right, let's report this date again.
Drinks in the city. You sure know how to pick 'em, Holiday.
I think that's it.
I need raid tickets. This is interesting. They really don't tell you anything for new players in this game. Like, you gotta figure shit out on your own. No raid ticket.
Everyone, gather round. This is right.
I'll be damned. Guide'll actually send over the specs for their interceptor upgrades.
We better fix this or we're both in
King's Fall. I don't know the Witch Queen.
What do you mean I'm racing too much? I like it, all right. What's the problem?
Okay. Okay.
Listen up.
This is taking forever.
Time for a break.
41 more days.
All right. Let's report this date again.
What do you mean I'm racing too much? I like it, all right. What's the problem?
Okay.
See, I wish you could turn matchmaking on and maybe you can change some of the rewards a little bit.
I can fix this. Wait, was it? No, yeah,
I
that's right.
slept rough last night.
Get somebody down to the cryptarchy. I need a warlock that can read hive runes and Bane.
Yeah, I need the. If I get the, I think Season of Arisen, that season pass is included in the Witch Queen. I think it's the last 3 seasons, including this season.
Wait, no, yeah, that's right.
We're falling behind schedule.
Grasp of Avarice dungeon.
I bet my hawk that's Golden Age.
That's right.
The Breached Gateway.
Concentrate.
What's this? Empath.
That's the hardest part. Shutting it down.
I need a rest.
Arcburn. So what's the lost sector?
Wait a minute, that's not right.
What I wouldn't do to dig around in the guts of one of those threshers. Whew.
I slept rough last night. I slept rough last night.
You're gonna want to hear this.
Get somebody down to the cryptarchy. I need a warlock that can read hive runes and Baynine right now.
Is it here? No.
Calling it. Time for a break. Everyone over
Manifest
here.
pages.
I slept rough last night.
Okay, I see the problem. I need a rest.
I think I need 5. Honestly, the rewards aren't that great from the manifested pages. 87, 10 of these. It's easy enough to farm these enhancement cores. Just run a couple of strikes, dares, etc., etc.
Well, Titan, let's see what we have here.
Any Dusklight shards, helium fragments.
Darkness return.
What do you think? One more dare? Nightfall? Damn, man.
Not bad.
Scout, heavy grenade, sniper.
We'll be watching.
I don't believe this.
What? Yeah, we can do a couple more. I do want to grind down, get a gnawing hunger though. That's the only thing. Damn, I forgot like how rough it can be when you're trying to like grind out a couple of things, you know what I mean? Yeah, I forgot. Switch off to this. Fusion sniper scout grenade launcher machine. Got a warlock doing some damage. Oh, you want to come after me now?
Another nightmare rises, but this one is stronger. Go and extinguish it.
Oh, goodness. Need... 2 more, then a fusion rifle, and then a sniper rifle. Wow.
Nightmares rise, and the harvester stirs to life, yearning for their pain. Oh my god. Okay, now I need to scrounge around for. Alright, oh, that was easy.
Killing nightmares. I don't have any grenade launchers. Shit. Oh my god, stop. Ooh. Oh, we got a nice little prime engram.
Done then. No thanks to your crow. His debt is settled. Saladin saw to that. If he hopes to earn my favor again, then he must try harder.
I serve only one queen. We know this in our heart.
All right. I gotta go back and get a grenade launcher. It's probably more useful to have a grenade launcher on you than a sniper rifle. I imagine in like, oh my god, they're whole bunch of them here. Yeah, they're farming bounties, or they're trying to get like drops on certain weapons. I wonder if they gave me... Oh. I'm just looking for more heavy ammo. Oh my goodness. Come on, fellas. Drop something for me. Drop some heavy ammo for me. What the fuck? Oh, thank God. Let's go back to the tower. So bad at sniping, man. So bad at sniping. I need to get some water too. Oh my God, 63 degrees right now. Like, it's a warm night. All right.
Every new threat is a new cadre of guardians. Jesus of dreams.
That's convenient. I can break it like right after this too. Truth, Deathbringer. This isn't that great, to be honest with you. I have a sword, that's the only thing. This is actually like really good, actually. Yeah. But the only problem is it takes up an exotic spot. Take that.
Checks out. Carry on.
See what we get.
What cipher is this?
I never thought I'd live to see the darkness return.
It's good to see you alive, Guardian.
Sure.
Nice. I know, I got the Ascendant Alloy already. This is just for the reset.
I'll be pulling for you, if I remember.
I want to do like a dare or something. I could have used. That's alright. I'll get another one. We put that away. I'm essentially not gonna like take this off anytime soon. But maybe for like other builds. Go to the back here. This was fun for a little bit, but it's honestly not that useful. This is interesting. Lord of Wolves. I don't know. I forgot the notes on this. I want another gnawing hunger. I gotta grind another one out. I'll get one eventually.
It's Red Legion versus Red Jack. Wish I could see the fight.
This is actually like pretty decent, but it's very specific. I'd rather have something. I like to have something with a little bit more utility, like Heart Innermost Light. Let's see. That's a Warlock. I don't like specific ones. And Fist of Havoc, I don't think is like great. That Supercharge is so much better. But I like the stats though, except for Intellect. If Intellect, then Discipline could switch up, be better. This is really good. Oh, but the Discipline's only a +2. We take off that stat increase. Was it without it? 66. That's so low. Total of 59. Yeah. Okay.
Did you get taller? Or am I
Okay.
getting shorter?
Let's grind this stuff out. Well, I feel bad for Kanye West. Yes, only because I know that he has like real issues, like his manic episodes, his bipolar disorder. You know, he woefully doesn't take any medication though, and he's really like pushed everyone that actually cares about him away, which is sad, man. Like, there's help for him too, and he can afford help too. That's the thing too. And like, I feel like people are taking advantage of him too. But at the same time, though, I feel like that's not an excuse for like the behavior and the crazy anti-Semitic shit that he's been saying too. Like, I feel like I don't want to take away the agency of like what he's done and give that excuse. So I see so many people like use that same excuse themselves who aren't anywhere near his position. They use like their autism. This is gonna be a hot take. They use like their autism and things like that, almost as if to say I can get away with like my bad behavior. I don't think that's right.
And fantastic
I can sympathize for him too, but at the same time, I understand like businesses wanting to remove themselves from. I wouldn't want to associate with that. That's crazy. All the crap that he says. It's so like off the wall, and it's dangerous rhetoric too. And he's someone who has a platform, and it's, I don't know if you've noticed, but like there's been a lot of anti-Semitism lately too. A lot of anti-Asian hate, or Asian hate and anti-Semitism. And whether or not you agree with this too, there's a certain political party in the United States of America that tends to go that route more so than the other party. So
Spin the wheel to meet the other team joining us tonight. Put all four of your hands together for the fallen.
we were a little slow.
The horse demands more from you. I must oblige.
Okay. It does have that great mane. took one for the team.
The fantastic horse now demands you prove your dexterity on the zany Dares of Eternity obstacle course.
Nice. Oh, 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 oh. Very nice.
Spin the disc, contestants.
Oh my god, thank God. I'll have to...
From a churning pool of radiolaria come the Vex. Wishes to witness further combat.
Let's refill that energy bar.
A powerful Vex guards your next challenge.
Yes. Kind of sick and tired of facing the Cabal. Let's see what we can do here.
One door holds your final opponent.
I'm surprised we don't have something for the Fallen, the Taken, things like that. Ugh. Not my luck today.
What a shame.
Grab all this glimmer.
Odds were not to your favor tonight.
I'm not gonna even try. Still haven't mastered the Titan jump. Maybe it's a little bit easier.
The infinite steed places timeless Vex before you. See you on the other side.
Come on. Ooh.
You have triumphed, champ. Now, let us see what President will be taking over.
Ooh, Nong Hunga with a red border.
Yes, the vault of the Paraverse is generous.
That is not bad.
And
Let's
so
see.
are we, right here on Dares of Eternity. Good night.
Let me see what the. No, I'm not. Damn it, wrong browser. Oh, it was Edge. Yes, I use Microsoft Edge. Don't judge me. The God roll on that. June. Gamezo.co.uk. That's right, baby. We're going to it. That's a PvP. Oh, I might have gotten it here too. Was it subsistence? Multi-clip. Multi-kill clip. Rampage, swashbuckler. Extended mag, appended mag. Okay. Extended. Corkscrew rifling. Hammer forger. So that's that UK site. What did Fanbyte say? Subsistence. Rampage or demolitionist. Let's get that. Okay. So this isn't like too bad. Reloading after a kill grants increased damage, even for a 600. That's actually pretty decent. That stability could be better. Okay. I'm gonna need to get. Look at my colorful ship. Man, what are we doing? I need. What do I need? No, these are my kinetic weapons. Try not to use something that I normally use. Oh, these stats are horrible. God damn. For a fusion rifle, besides. I still think like this thing is like the best just because of its superconductor ability. But I think that only works if you take arc damage, right? Yeah, when arc conduct, yeah, you have to take arc damage. Once you take arc damage, superconductor then pops. Damn, well, some of the best weapons are energy weapons. So it was like, so it looks like it's like every 3. There's nothing there. You got a key, and I got 3 of these. All right, let me head over to Zer's place. I'm gonna go waste my time. All right, I think I'm done for the day, folks. Let me go ahead and quit for the day. But let me go to Zer's place first. If you liked what you saw, drop a follow. If you really liked what you saw, feel free to give a sub. I will be uploading this stream, my stream from yesterday, and then actually the stream that cut out as well. I think I'll just upload as like two separate uploads on Twitter, so I'll have 3 uploads going. That should be fun. All right, let's see what I'm gonna get from Zer. Damn, man, if I can. Yeah, hopefully it looks like pretty decent on stream.
May we speak?
Oh my god. That's how tired I am. I'm also pretty thirsty. Have truth. Break this down. I can break this down too. Nice. Did I break down? Yeah, okay. Sometimes when you're tired, man, you hover over the wrong thing. Ooh, Night Watch. Can't craft. I'm assuming you can't craft this yet. Go ahead and just put that away. All right, people. As always, stay frosty, touch grass, and God speed. Whoa. Tired. Yeah, that was a drop in FPS.